Sorry, the camera overheated in the sun over here. But we are back. So, like, what we're getting at is that when you decide and say, you know what, I am going to actually, like, I know I keep on saying that I'm not good at lifting weights or going to the gym, or I'm not good at being a good husband or a good boyfriend, or when you say I'm not good at cooking, okay? You first make a decision and say, you know, let's pull this into present, okay? You first make a decision and say, do I actually want to be a good cook, right? For me, I don't. Like, I'd rather pay Chipotle every single day of my life and then also pay Dunkin' for my coffee. And yeah, that's done. There's this book called Who Not How. And partway through it, but until recently I was very much a hower. Weird word, but like I'm a problem solver, so a lot of times I'm thinking about how can I solve this issue. Like, for instance, if the brakes are going out, instead of me thinking about like taking it to a shop, it's like, how can I buy some cheap brakes and then how can I install them? Versus, instead of how, who would be best suited to help me with this, right? It might be my friend Micah. It might be, you know, actually taking it to a shop and saying they're going to be the best people to take care of it. They have a collective 20, 30, 40, 50 years of auto experience that I don't have, nor do I want to have. That's the thing. If you don't want it, why are you doing it? So many of the things that we're trying to get good at or that we feel bad about, we don't even want. Like, if you don't want to be able to be good at fixing your car, don't. But note that that's a who thing. I'm just going to pay the price and have someone else do it, and that's great. Cool. Too easy. Now, the flip side of that, right, is that it's something that you do want to do, right? It's like, I'm not a good husband, or I don't feel like I'm a good dad, or I'm really bad at entrepreneurship, or I don't feel great about my career, or something along those lines, right? So if this is something that you actually want, then you pull up ChatGPT. This is my phone right here. We're just going to pretend this is my phone. You pull up ChatGPT and say, yo, Chat, I really want to be a better husband, okay? And what you do is this. You say, you could even not even say, I want to be a good husband. What you can say is, what are the top 3 things? Or you can say, what are the top things? Whatever. What are the top 3 things that women really want out of a man? Or you can say, what are the top 3 things that my wife would probably want out of a guy? You can also be contextual. You're like, yo, my wife loves witchcraft and all the things, right? But generally speaking, what's cool about the skill of being a good husband is that once you become a good husband, you are now a good husband regardless. Regardless of if you eventually get like a divorce or something like that, you learn the skill of being attractive, or you learn the skill of going to the gym, or you learn the skill of business, and that skill transfers even if you decide to not continue that business, or not continue that relationship, or not continue whatever. We're not talking about giving up on relationships here, but these are the things that even you invest in it, but it also then builds forever. Just because it's kind of like when you go to a job, you learn certain skills on the job, but then those skills and then transfer to the next job. So it's not a waste of time. Anyway, so you're like, yo, what are the 3 things that women really want? I highly recommend looking this up. Don't feel like weird about looking up what do women want, or what are the 3 things I should focus on in the gym if I'm trying to gain 20 pounds of muscle, right? Like, you be specific. And then AI, because AI knows collective database of everyone's thoughts, experiences, whatever, can give you a personalized, like, yo, these are the 3 things that you probably should focus on. And once you have that, then you can choose to just act on that. You can go from literally, this is what's fucking crazy about AI. It's what's crazy about being a human in today's world, is that you literally can be like, I have a deficiency. Okay, what are the 3 things that I should focus on that it would literally crush out everything else? Because there's a lot of shit you can do, but what are the top 3? What are the top 3 things? And then you can say, okay, this is my day-to-day. What are the things that I can leverage up and do in my day? And you just do it. This isn't a video about doing, like acting on something. It's a video about like self-limiting beliefs. So like, I won't go deep on like the doing, but like we limit ourselves so much because we don't want to do the hard work. We don't want to do the things that we are just necessary. I did for so long. I was a perfect I. There's called like T's. Some, like when people are trying to hire, a lot of times they want people that are T's. They have people that are have general knowledge about a lot of stuff, and then they have one thing that they're really deep about. I was a really good I. I was deep about, we'll just call it creativity, for lack of it, for a very circly word of all design, web development, and graphic design, and marketing, and blah 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 blah. Very good I. But I had major deficiencies across the board of everything else. Major deficiencies. And those things, they hit. They're there. You know what I mean? So you gotta, if you see a deficiency that you have, instead of being like, I'm only a creative, if you want to be a good father, you gotta also be a good father. If you want to be a good, a good friend, you got to be a good friend. And if you're not a good friend, that's okay. You say, okay, I'm not a good friend. You have an honest heart to heart. This is what this shit's all about. Is you just realize that you're fucked up, and then that's okay, and then we can improve. But wallowing in the I'm fucked up for life and I'm terrible and my parents never loved me and all this, like all true things, probably, maybe, I don't know. I don't know your situation. I know my situation. some shit. But once you get to that point where you're like, okay, got it, that's a thing that I want to get good at, you have the time freedom to do this. You literally, what's crazy is you can combine these 3 fucking things. This is the pyramid of life right here. If I had to pick the 3 things that will just murder it all, like make it all happen. You have a heart to heart, right? So that's just the heart to heart. Then you're like, okay, I'm ready to acquire this skill. You have ChatGPT, which you can use to give context on your situation. And then you can say, hey, Chat, I'm trying to learn how to build a productized product. Sure, that's something that I wanted to figure out. What are some books that you'd recommend? Oh, here goes 5. So then you got Chat. Then you go down here in this whatever part, and we'll call it Audible. Audible's right there to help you out, and you get a very deep dive book about whatever the thing you're trying to figure out, whether that's trying to gain muscle and build, like all the things. I just give you my examples. And then there's this thing called YouTube that has its infinite amounts of knowledge about a topic. So like, there's just not really any excuse for why you can't. Yes, there are actual things that are limitations, but I'm not talking about certain limitations, right, that are outside your control. Like, if you're short, kind of hard to be like the best basketball player because you got to be tall, but you still could be a basketball player, right? And so I don't want to get down the route of like, I can't do this because of all these things are the worst in my life. It's just like, yes, those things are there. Now what? Let's do something about it. Let's vibe out. Because like I said, you take care of those 3-4 non-negotiables that are like, yo, I want to be a great parent. Yo, I want to be a great spouse. Yo, I'm going to work. I gotta work. Like fucking work, whether it's self-employment, whether it's employment, whether it's, you're entrepreneur, you gotta work. Don't get me wrong, you may get to a point eventually in time where you can work less. But the thing is when you work, like I imagine, I'm not there yet, okay? But I imagine once you get to the top of the hill, you're like, I don't actually have to work. I have financial freedom. You're still gonna wanna do stuff because you'll get bored. I heard analogy from, I can't remember, Navar Ravikant. He's talking about like the river of life, where there's like, you've balanced between wanting everything to be the same and everything to be the different. For instance, I want to, on the same note, right? Every time I order Chipotle, facts, proofs. Every time I order Chipotle, I want it to be the same. I don't want it to be different. I don't want it to be crazy. I don't want it to be like, order this, I want it to be the same, okay? But you may then also yearn for change. So you have things that are the same that you want to maintain, but then you also have like things that you might want that feel different. You're like, okay, I do this same exact activity with my kid every single day, and great, that is the same, but you're like, maybe a little variation might be nice. So we go between this like the same and change, and it's a teetering balance, bro. It's one of those, it's a what's it called thing, a fulcrum, I don't know what that thing's called, but like it's one of those things. I struggle with that because I love new ideas. I love thinking. I love just like philosophy and just thinking of ways to like time hack and just leverage up and do things like that. I love that. But what I also love, like that's all different and changing, but what I also love is consistent time that I can do those things in. Consistent time with my wife, consistent time with my kids. So it's not one or the other, it's realizing that the non-negotiables in your life, like going to the gym or whatever, those are constant, and your commitment to those things are constant. Whatever you're trying to build needs to be constant, but iteration can change. You can be the change, right? Every time I hang out with my wife, I can iterate and see how can I improve my time with my wife. Every time I hang out with my kids, how can I iterate and be like, like yesterday, bro, look, check this out. This is some real shit. This is iteration. This is me coming up with new ideas. Here we go. Whoop, 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 whoop. We got a family field trip, guys. Family field trip. So if you've been following the channel for a little bit, you'll know that I have what's called dad time. I also have what's called brotherhood time. And then I also now newly implemented, this is a very new thing, like grooming with dad time, meaning like let's like focus on our hygiene and all that stuff. So then that's in the morning. But new addition yesterday, family field trip. Okay, so you can do this, and you can literally do this at any point in time. We made a little graph here. Zoop, zoop, zoop. You know, it's pretty much we are here. 1, 2, it's supposed to be on here. 1, 2, 3, and then we're done. So 3 activities. You don't tell anybody about the next activities. You got part 1, part 2, part 3. This is literally just the same thing as keeping retention on like YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that. Like you're like, okay guys, we're gonna go on a journey today, but I'm not gonna tell you about the whole journey. I'm gonna tell you about the first part, and then we'll get to the rest of the journey. But you know that there's more to come, type of thing. So I did that with the kids. It was super fun. We first went to go get Chick-fil-A biscuits. Whoop whoop. Then we went to go to the Haywood Mall in Greenville, and we went to Candy World, Mom and Dad Teas, Littles at the Playground, Food Courts. That was part 2. And then part 3 was Dunkin' Donuts, because you know we are a Dunkin' family. And so talking about iteration, this did not exist before. Yes, we had family time or family. Also, there's another thing that we do. We have dad time, brotherhood time, family time, which includes like more mom and like we're going out somewhere. And then, now there's this family field trip, which is more about like not a whole day, but a good bit of the day. And how I'd like to just I know this whole thing's about self-limiting beliefs, but I would like to take a quick second to explain that, because I do think that it can help some of you guys if you're struggling with figuring out how to navigate time with your kids. Because I definitely was. I was trying to figure out how to work, how to be a good husband, how to do all that stuff. So here is at least how I go about it on the day-to-day. There's a block of time on my calendar that literally says brotherhood time. And brotherhood time is all about not specifically time with dad, but me teaching them how to be good brothers to each other. I noticed there was a lot of conflict in the house. I noticed there was a lot of like knick-knacking and, teaming up and and I was like, let me figure out how to have fun collectively together. And then also teaching them kind of how to interact. Dad time is what you might think it is. It's more like one-on-one time with each boy. Now, that is every single day. But here's the caveat. If mom's like, I want to get the fuck out the house, if mom's like, I got an idea, if mom's like, yo, I want to go, I want to do something, then now instead of us doing brotherhood and dad time, we do family time. Meaning if we do family time, we don't do the other thing. They used to think like we're going to do family time and then do all the other stuff. And it was a lot. So family time will override your regular day-to-day time at any given time, any given moment. Family time sometimes might be we need to go to Nana's. Family time there might be like a little errand in between there that just happens to whatever. Family time is not every single day, but it will come up at any given point, and we're gonna ride or die and be vibes with it. At least that's how I've explained it to the boys. If we're not doing family time, then we'll do our regular schedule. Then there is, like I said, the family field trip, which right now, this is a new thing. Again, this is all about iteration. I love change, but I also love consistency. So I want to show up as a dad, but I want to change up some of the things that are going on in it to try to help improve it. Now we're doing what's called family field trips, and pretty much what that is we go off a work hard, play hard system, which is I work 3 days straight, 12-hour shifts, okay? And then the third day, not the third, we work 3 days, and then 1 day, so it's really the fourth day, is play hard, which is more like family field trip, going and having fun. Maybe it's a date or something like that. Going actually doing something outside the house and vibing and having fun. And I still work like 4 hours on that day. Like it's pretty much I do 40 hours in 4 days and then rinse and repeat. But that's how we're doing it. 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Anyways, kind of bringing this back to self-limiting beliefs. There are many things that you just don't have the time to do. And so that's why you have to get really intentional about what you actually is important to you. So if if you're like, you know what, I really want to go to the gym, I really want to commit to this, commit to it. And once you do, then like I said, the triangle of like, go to chat, contextualize it, ask it some thoughts about how to create a plan, what workouts should you do, and target, what's your weight, all that stuff. Then if you really want to get deep about it, you can buy a $10 book, which is just fucking crazy. Like a $10 book about these things, like working out if you want. And then you can follow a YouTube channel for like that motivation, that kind of day-to-day, you're watching, you're listening, you're whatever. And then you can use TikTok to figure out how to do a specific move. And guess what? If you just continue to go to the gym, you're directionally correct. You will get there. You know, like it's just facts. If you want to get better at reading, better at writing, you want to be a better boyfriend, you want to be better at business, just follow those 1, 2, 3, the pyramid of success, whatever you want to fucking call it. That's what I do. That's how I get all my information. Now, one other thing that I really like to implement that helps me when I'm doing skill acquisition is I like to create like little frameworks or acronyms. For instance, when I'm communicating with people, because I noticed that I'm a good, like I can amp you up, I can make you feel good initially, but then like second, third, fourth conversation, like I'm just kind of on to the next. I'm just like, and that's not really fun. That's not really being a great friend. That's being a good friend for 1 day, but not 2 days, not 3 days, not 4 days. Okay. So I aspire to be like, you know what? I want to go ahead and change that. And there's this framework called ACA. Okay. So I first learned about this from Alex Ramosi on his channel. It's about helping you to warm up leads, but it just can be applied to all of life. So it's pretty much A stands for acknowledge, compliment, and then ask or answer. You know, that can be it doesn't have to be a question. It pretty much means like you acknowledge what they're saying, you give them a compliment, and then what you wanted to initially say, that's when you then say that. Okay? Before, I would always like listen, like hear, and then just say what I wanted to say. And that's, I promise you, talking to the wife and being more intentional, talking to the kids, it is a game changer for communication. Because what happens is like, someone's like, man, I really had a bad day at work. And I'm not going to go super deep, but like, I had a really bad day at work. And then what you do is you acknowledge what they just said. Oh man, you had a terrible day at work. I'm so sorry. That, I know what that feels like. Then you go to C, compliment. You're such a hard worker. You push through. You do such a good job at your job. Oh, you are, and just a genuine compliment. You just find something genuine to compliment. And then whatever it is that you initially wanted to say, then you say it. It may be like, are you okay? It may be, what can I do for you? It could be like, hey, do you want to go get coffee? Whatever the thing that you were going to say, because usually you know that thing. You know the third thing, you just have to prefix. You do 2 prefixes to what you probably were already going to just spit out when they were talking. And it makes them feel heard, it makes them feel good because of the compliment, and then you say something. And then after that, it'll go back to them, and then guess what? You do it again, ACA. You acknowledge what they said, you give them another compliment, and then you answer. And this is just a framework. So I love little acronyms that are like frameworks that I can kind of just remember mentally, like PPF, which is like past, present, future. When I'm making a video, I can be like, okay, what was the past? What was in the past? How was I fucking up in the past? And then present, what am I doing now? What are the systems that I'm doing now? And then what does the future look like? So we'll actually wrap up what present is, which is what I pretty much told you, my system of like, my calendar. I like time blocks, but I don't like things timed in forever. Like I know that I need to spend time with my wife, and I know that I need to spend time with my kids, and I know generally this is the time that works best, and I know that I need to go to work, and I know this is generally the best time. But on another, like on a day to day or a week to week, I may then change up the rotation or where this stuff comes in, and I pretty much keep the same rough amount of time that I'm allocating for the people. Work may change. I may change how I do the work, but when in my commitments to other people, I try to keep that roughly the same, but I'm still able to move it around. And so there's one. And then, one second. There's one, and then, like I said, anytime I have a self-limiting belief and there's something that I want to change, I go straight to ChatGPT, tell it what I'm feeling, and be like, yo, I want to change. What are the 3 things that I can do that will instantly just like make this thing a little better? And then if I do not time block that time in my calendar, it will not happen. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't fucking exist. Most things are not on my calendar. So it does not exist, okay? When I put it on the calendar, that means that I'm dedicating that 30 minutes, I'm dedicating that hour. Let's just say I'm trying to be a better friend. We had a little block for friend. So that hour of block of time is now where it may not be that I'm hanging out with friends, but then I'm focusing on how to improve being a better friend. So I might be doing research. I might be like reaching out. I might be whatever. And that's, that's pretty much how we do it. Go to ChatGPT. Then if it's something I really want to learn about deeply, I'll then buy a book on Audible with my credits. And then if it's something I'm really, really, passionate about, I might actually go happen to follow, look something up or listen to a podcast about it. And then I'll follow that person and they're probably talking about it ongoing, and they'll just make my way their way. They'll be hanging out and vibing with me. Self-limiting beliefs. You don't have to have self-limiting beliefs. Anything that you want to do in life, you just can. Yes, it requires hard work. Yes, it requires dedication. But this is the first part of that, in believing and knowing that you actually just can. You don't need anybody else's permission. You just can. All right, that is it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Take care. Peace.